The United Nations says a million barrels of oil from decaying sulfur tanker has been removed safely. 5 United Nations staff released after kidnapped by Al-Qaeda in Yemen for more than a year. The world marks the International Youth Day for the year 2023 today. Good evening. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. I am Abir Ali and you are watching the English news. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres welcomed the news that the ship-to-ship transfer of oil from Safar, a deteriorating tanker off the coast of Yemen, to a replacement vessel has been safely concluded on Friday. This report has more.
The United Nations announced on Friday that the transfer of more than 1 million barrels of oil from an aging tanker stranded off the coast of war-torn Yemen has been completed, averting an environmental calamity. Farhan Haq, the deputy spokesperson for UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, said in a statement that the operation dodged a monumental environmental and humanitarian catastrophe.
After 8 years of waiting and 2 years of intense work, the global community has come together through 23 member states of the United Nations, through the private sector and the global public to achieve a significant milestone here today.
On July 25th, an international crew began siphoning oil from the neglected tanker known as the FSO Safer. Nearly all of the oil has already been transferred to a new vessel named Most Yemen. The Safer, which Yemen operated as a floating storage and unloading facility before the transfer, carried 4 times the amount of oil spilled in the 1989 Exxon Valdez disaster off Alaska, one of the world's biggest ecological crises, according to the UN. For years, international organizations and human rights groups have warned of the possibility of a leak or explosion involving the ship, which has been neglected and has ruptured pipes and seawater in its engine compartments. It is docked 6 kilometers from Yemen's western Red Sea ports of Hodeidah and Ras Isa, a crucial territory held by Iran-backed Houthi rebels in conflict with Yemen's internationally recognized government. Up until a UN-led effort succeeded in gaining access to the ship and garnering money from foreign donors, the warring parties held each other responsible for impeding a salvage operation to remove the oil. The transfer is a significant step forward in a strategy that will require further financing to transport the oil and relocate the Safer. According to the UN, a small amount of oil remains within the hull of the Safer, and the salvage crew must devise a safe method for anchoring the replacement vessel in deep waters.
It's been a very good day today. Now we can move forward with our plan to offload the oil off the FSO Safer. By the end of this week, we should be able to start seeing the first oil being pumped into this vessel to secure it for the first time in 8 years and no longer represent a threat.
The United Nations announced on Friday that 5 of its security personnel who were abducted by Al-Qaeda militant in Yemen 18 months ago have been successfully released. Reuters reported the released staff, comprising 4 individuals from Yemen and 1 from Bangladesh, were in very good health and good spirits, despite everything that went through. The top UN official in Yemen, David Gressly, told reporters. This report gives more details.
5 United Nations security personnel kidnapped by Al-Qaeda terrorists in Yemen 18 months ago have been released, the United Nations announced on Friday. The release was welcomed by United Nations Security General Antonio Guterres, who stressed that kidnapping is an inhumane and unjustifiable act, calling for the culprits to be held responsible. The staff, 4 from Yemen and 1 from Bangladesh, were in very good health and good spirits despite everything that they went through, according to the senior United Nations officer in Yemen, David Gressly. However, they went through a very difficult period of 18 months of isolation. On February 11, 2022, the United Nations personnel were abducted in Yemen's southern district district of Abiyan. They were all employed by the United Nations Department of Security and Safety. Yemen-based Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has increased its influence by exploiting the war between a Saudi-led coalition and the Iran-aligned Houthis. Gressly said AQAP was an increasing threat. For years, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, or AQAP, has been operating in southern Yemen. It is regarded as one of the most hazardous branches of the worldwide network and has implemented to carry out strikes on the U.S. mainland. Kidnappings are common in Yemen, an impoverished nation where armed tribesmen and militants seize captives in exchange for prisoners or cash. Yemen has been embroiled in conflict since the Houthi movement toppled the government from Sana'a in late 2014. In 2015, a military coalition led by Saudi Arabia intervened to restore the government. Peace measures have gained traction after Riyadh and Tehran decided in March to restore diplomatic ties that had been cut in 2016.
The International Organization for Migration said that 800 African migrants in Yemen returned to their countries last July. Due to deteriorating humanitarian crisis in Yemen and the challenges in moving towards Saudi Arabia, many migrants have chosen to return to the Horn of Africa. DTM teams in Djibouti recorded that during July 2023, a total of 805 migrants took the risk to return by boat from Yemen to their home country. The world marks the International Youth Day for 2023 today. It's commemorated every year on 12th of August. Marking this day encourages youth around the world to organize activities to raise awareness about the situation of youth in their country. This report has more.
International Youth Day is commemorated every year on 12th of August. The focal point on youth selects a theme for the day, often with input from youth organizations and members of the UN Interagency Network in Youth Development. Today, the world is embarking on a green transition. The shift towards an environmentally sustainable and climate-friendly world is critical not only for responding to the global climate crisis, but also for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The World Youth Forum in Egypt has launched a package of development initiatives and projects in response to current international changes and global crises. These initiatives were carried out in cooperation with various international and local institutions and organizations, including the United Nations, to gather youth of the world and celebrate their achievements. However, youth in Yemen are suffering unemployment and recruitment on the fronts of the war. The Houthi rebels are strengthening their capabilities and demonstrating their readiness to continue the fight. They have utilized the period of the UN-sponsored truce to crack down on dissent, redeploy military assets, and expand recruitment and training across northern territories. Moreover, they have shamelessly demonstrated their disinterest in an expanded truce with the PLC, and they kept violating the UN-mediated truce, which came as a proof to the world of their tendency to war crimes rather than peace. The militia didn't find it a shame to show off their bloody ideology to abuse youth through displaying military parades, which represent the new missile capabilities, their manpower, and domestic manufacturing of weapons and military vehicles. The Yemeni Coalition for Monitoring Human Rights Violations confirmed that the Houthi militia has established 83 centers for child recruitment distributed among headquarters in villages, residential neighborhoods, mosques, schools, and summer centers, in addition to camps and security departments under the militia's control.
An explosive device exploded in a military vehicle in Al Wadi district in Ma'arib Governorate. Tribal sources said that the device planted by unknown persons exploded in a military vehicle near the western entrance of the city of Ma'rib. On August 9th, an explosive device targeted a military vehicle last night, which led to the burning of the vehicle without causing any casualties. The Houthi militia attacked citizens' homes in Bani Hushash, Sana'a Governorate. Local sources confirmed that the Houthi gunmen attacked citizens' homes by force of arms and revealed the reality of the militia. It's noteworthy that Bani Hushash is one of the areas that pushed hundreds of people to fight in the ranks of the militia. Coming up in the news. Zabid Town, a World Heritage with an outstanding universal value.
أبي مات بشارع 40 دحين أنا أشقى على أسرتي مع باقي اللي أنا أصرف عليهم كل شيء. أنا اسمي أنس وصيب سيف، عمري 12 سنة. أنا أشتغل بورشة حديد من الساعة 7 للساعة 6. أحيانا أسرع، أحيانا أقص، أحيانا أرنق، أحيانا أنقش، أي حاجة أنا أعمل. لا الساعة لما تدين الساعة 6 أوقف. أنا وقفت الدراسة عشان ما فيش أحد يشقى على أسرتي، أدرس إخواني الباقي. منهم 4 وأنا الخامس. أحلم إن أفتح ورشة أبي وأشقى على أسرتي وأندي لهم مصاري وأدرس أخوتي الآخر الجامعات وأطبخ أي شيء.
Welcome back. 2 people died in 2 separate accidents as a result of thunderbolts in the city of Hodeidah. Local sources said that the citizens died as a result of thunderbolt in Beit al-Faqih district. In a similar incident in the same district, a citizen has died. This comes after 52 people died and others injured as a result of thunderbolts accompanying the rains across the country. The Houthi militia kidnapped a citizen in the city of Ab. Local sources said that the Houthi militia kidnapped citizens under the pretext of publishing pictures of its leaders and sectarian slogans. These sources indicated that the militia had previously attacked the citizen because he refused to be present during the 2 Friday ceremonies. For the 9th year in a row, electricity in Yemen represents the most complex issue that disturbs the lives of citizens. In the southern governorates, especially Aden, electricity is cut off for 16 hours a day. Despite all efforts to end people's suffering, residents continue to complain from this problem, especially during summertime. The General Electricity Corporation in Aden launched a new appeal warning of a possible outage of system in the coming hours. The warning came in light of the exacerbation of the suffering of the residents of the coastal city, which is witnessing a severe rise in temperatures. The corporation called on government agencies to intervene urgently to provide fuel for power stations of diesel. Zabid is a town on Yemen's western coastal plain. It was named after Wadi Zabid. It's one of the oldest in Yemen and was the capital from the 13th to the 15th century AD. The historic town of Zabid was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1993. More on this story of Zabid is within this report.
Zabid is one of the coastal towns in the Tihama area west of Yemen. The city constitutes a site of exceptional archaeological and historical importance, thanks to its local and military architecture and urban planning. In addition to being the capital of Yemen from the 13th century to the 15th century, Zabid has been of great importance in the Arab and Islamic world for centuries, thanks to Islamic University. The city of Zabid is located in the middle of the Tihama plain, which occupies the western part of Yemen and extends from Meren in the south to the borders of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the north. It is about 233 kilometers from the capital Sana'a towards the southwest, and it is 95 kilometers from the city of Hodeida towards the southeast. Its inhabitants belong to Ash'ar tribe, the people of the companion Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, who came to the messenger Muhammad, may God bless him, and declared his conversion to Islam. The companion built Al-Ash'ar Mosque, so it was the third mosque to be built in Yemen, after the Great Mosque in Sana'a and the Al-Jund Mosque in Taiz Governorate. The city of Zabid is considered one of the most famous international intellectual centers, not only in Yemen, but also in the Islamic world. The city includes about 85 Islamic scientific schools. Some of those schools still exist under their true names, and the private libraries of Zabid still include collections of rare manuscripts and mother books in various sciences. Remarkable Islamic scholars graduated as well from those schools. The city has the highest concentration of mosques in Yemen, some 86 in all, mainly simple brick structures, but some with elaborate carved bricks and stucco decoration. However, the recent insertion of concrete buildings and the increasing use of modern materials are seriously eroding the integrity of the city.
Here is a reminder of the main headlines. The United Nations says 1 million barrels of oil from decaying sulfur tanker has been removed safely. 5 United Nations staff released after kidnapped by Al-Qaeda in Yemen for more than a year. The world marks the International Youth Day for the year 2023 today. This is the end of the news. It was Abir Ali, and thank you for watching.